Hey photographers, creatives. This is the Focus Shift podcast, your best listening experience for creating your best online business. We'll focus on topics that help you get discovered. So sit back, listen, take notes if you like, and get excited about growing your business.
So, if you've ever started planning a new website, you probably know the feeling. It's almost like irresistible, right? You skip the hard stuff, the strategy part, and you dive straight into the visual wish list, picking fonts, looking at templates.
Debating the colors, yeah. The fun stuff.
Exactly. And the result, well, often it's a site that looks, polished, looks pretty.
Sure does.
But it's kind of empty under the hood. It doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't convert.
Yeah, that's a really common problem, especially for small businesses. Think photographers, little shops.
Right.
They rush straight to the design part without any real map of what the site needs to achieve.
So they get something nice to look at.
Exactly. Aesthetically pleasing. But it fundamentally fails. It doesn't keep up as customer habits change or as the tech behind search changes.
Okay, so that's our mission today, really. We want to introduce a framework that kind of forces you to put strategy first.
Makes sense.
We're doing a deep dive into this thing called the ALCHEMY framework. It's described as a powerful 7-step way to plan your website.
And it feels really necessary right now, doesn't it? With all the AI stuff happening.
Totally. Especially with generative AI and how people find things online now.
And it's really important to get that Alchemy isn't like software. It's not tied to one platform. It's more of a thinking framework, a structured way to, stop guessing and actually organize what you want your site to do.
So it helps you build something goal-driven from the start.
Precisely. It gives you that strong foundation that, honestly, way too many sites just don't have.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why is planning so much more critical now than, say, 5 years ago? Why can't a small business owner just throw up a basic site quickly and, figure out the strategy later?
Well, the whole online environment has fundamentally shifted.
How so?
Websites built in a rush without that solid plan. They often just can't keep pace. The foundation's too weak. Because think about how customers find businesses now. It's changing incredibly fast. We're talking AI search, voice search.
Right, Alexa, Google Assistant.
Exactly. And algorithms are constantly tweaking how things get discovered. If your website doesn't have a clear structure, a purpose,
It just gets lost.
it won't work well. It might not even show up in these new ways people are searching.
So that old idea of launch first, fix later, that's basically broken now.
Pretty much.
Sure.
Because the discovery mechanisms are evolving so quickly, that lack of planning up front becomes a huge disadvantage.
A liability. Yeah.
Right. So a smart, deliberate approach like Alchemy, it builds in resilience.
Okay.
It makes sure the site isn't just a pretty online brochure. It's a functional, structured machine that works for the owner today.
And tomorrow.
And, crucially, stays relevant and understandable to these new AI-driven discovery methods tomorrow. You absolutely need that strength before you even think about visuals.
I like that. And the framework gives you this handy mnemonic, ALCHEMY.
Makes it easier to remember the steps.
Let's dive into those first three. The analysis part, right. A, L, and C. These seem like the steps people skip most often.
Oh, definitely. This is the heavy lifting of strategy. It sets the whole direction before you make a single design choice.
Okay, so A is for audience research. The research we looked at is really clear on this. You can't just aim for everyone.
No, that never works.
You need to pick, 2 or 3 ideal customer types and really focus hard on their specific needs, their problems.
And it's deeper than just demographics. If you're a photographer, your audience isn't just couples getting married.
Right, too broad.
You need to segment by their pain points. Is the client maybe worried about looking awkward in photos? Or are they totally stressed about the wedding logistics and budget?
Yeah.
Focusing intensely on that specific fear or need. That's what makes the website copy and structure actually connect later on.
Got it. So once you know who you're talking to, you move to L, which is learning, the audit step. This feels critical because it keeps things grounded in reality, not just wishful thinking.
Yeah. Exactly. This is where you do a, frankly, brutally honest checkup, a gap analysis.
Okay.
You can't set a new direction if you don't know where you are now, or maybe what your competition is doing better.
So what does learning involve, practically?
It means digging into your existing website analytics, if you have them.
Looking at bounce rates, maybe? Where people drop off?
Yeah, things like that. Which service pages aren't working? Where do inquiries just die? And then, crucially, you studied maybe your top 3 competitors. What are they doing that seems to be working?
It's like data-driven humility.
That's a good way to put it. It's not guesswork.
What's the biggest barrier here? I mean, lots of small business owners are amazing at their craft, but maybe not so great at, Google Analytics.
The hurdle is often psychological, I think.
How so?
It forces you to look at what's objectively not working, pages that are failing.
Yeah, that can be tough.
But if you connect this to the bigger picture, this learning step gives you the smarts you need for the next phase, which is maybe the most crucial one.
Which leads us right to see, clarify, aim. This is where you get specific about goals, right? Separate vague wishes from actual measurable targets.
Yes. And this step acts like the ultimate filter for everything else that follows.
I can see that.
What's fascinating here is the power of being specific. It's so easy to say, oh, I want my site to look better.
Sure, everyone wants that.
But what does that mean? It's not actionable. It's not measurable. Alchemy demands a quantitative goal, something tied to time and value.
Like the example in the research.
Exactly. That example was perfect. Increase bookings by 20% in 3 months. Now that is specific, it's time-bound, and you can absolutely measure it.
And that single measurable goal then becomes the sort of North Star for the whole project.
Precisely.
So if some potential feature or design idea doesn't actively help you increase bookings by 20%?
You cut it. Immediately. No debate.
Wow. That's disciplined.
It is. Because without that clear aim, everyone involved, the owner, the designer, the writer, they're all potentially heading towards slightly different fuzzy destinations.
Right. Chaos.
C provides the focus, the accountability. It's a huge shift, really, moving from just subjective wants to objective targets.
Okay.
So now you know who you're talking to. A, you've checked the reality, L, and you have a clear, quantified destination, C.
Okay. Here's where it gets really interesting. Taking those aims and actually turning them into like a physical site structure.
Moving from analysis to actually building the plan.
Right. We're into H, E, M, and Y now, starting with H, hierarchy.
Hierarchy is basically the physical expression of C, your aim.
Okay.
It's all about mapping out the visitor's journey. If you skip this, you get what I call the buffet site.
Huh. I know those. Tons of options, no clear path.
Exactly. Hierarchy forces you to decide what is the main path you want people to take. The second they land on your homepage, all the way to doing that specific thing you defined back in C.
So it sounds less like creating a massive sitemap of every single page.
Right.
And more about defining the most important journey, the critical path.
That's it, exactly. If your goal is increase bookings, the hierarchy has to prioritize getting the user to that booking form smoothly. Fewest clicks possible. It should feel like a clear path, maybe even a funnel, not a maze.
Okay, that makes sense. And the next step, E for essential features, seems to flow right out of that strict hierarchy.
It does. You've got your main path mapped out in H. Now you decide which features actually support that journey and the goal from C.
And which ones are just noise.
Pretty much. Efficiency is the name of the game here. If a feature, maybe it's a fancy gallery, a blog, a complicated review system, if it doesn't directly serve that core goal,
It's fluff.
it's fluff. You have to be ruthless. Cut it. You're prioritizing the user experience that gets them to the goal. That means stripping away anything that causes distraction or makes them stop and think too much. Decision fatigue is real.
Okay, ruthless editing. I like it. So once we've cut the fluff, we get to the real details in M, mapping. This is page-by-page planning.
Yep, deep detail.
What level of detail are we talking about here?
Mapping uses the one-page, one-goal rule.
1 page, 1 goal. Okay.
Every single page on that sitemap needs a clear, specific purpose. And this is crucial, a defined call to action,
Yeah.
a CTA.
Why is that so important?
Think about it. If a page has like 3 different buttons asking the user to do 3 different things.
They freeze or click nothing.
Exactly. They get confused or overwhelmed. The source material was very clear. A page without a specific goal and a clear CTA probably shouldn't even exist on your site.
Wow. Yeah, I can immediately picture sites I've been on. A service page that says, read our blog, and also sign up for our newsletter, and also contact us now.
Total conflict. It kills conversion. Mapping forces every single page, every pixel almost, to work towards that single overarching aim you set way back in step C.
Okay, so let's recap the journey so far. We've researched the audience, A, audited the situation, L, set a measurable goal, C, mapped the main user journey, H, cut non-essential features, E, and planned every page's specific goal, and CTA, M. Whew.
It's a process, but it builds layer upon layer of clarity.
Which brings us to the final step. Y for yield. What happens here?
Yield is basically the assembly step. It's where you pull all those previous 6 steps together
Into the final plan.
into one single, cohesive, comprehensive website game plan. By the time you hit Y, you shouldn't be making big strategic choices anymore.
The decisions are already made.
Right. You shouldn't be debating goals. You should have a finalized blueprint, like a strategy deck that's ready to hand off to a designer or developer, ready to be built with total confidence.
Okay, that whole ALCHEMY process makes a lot of sense for building a better website. But let's connect this back to the tech theme. Why is this specific framework particularly strong now in this AI-driven world we keep talking about?
Yeah, that's the critical link, Becky, because while AI is definitely changing how people search and compare businesses,
Massively.
the core thing customers need from a website hasn't really changed. They still need clarity. They need focus. They need a trustworthy experience.
Okay.
And Alchemy essentially guarantees that focus and structure, which, it turns out, is exactly what AI algorithms really like. They thrive on clarity and structure.
So it's not about trying to design your site for an AI like ChatGPT.
No, not directly.
It's more about making the clarity for the human user so incredibly high that any AI trying to understand your site can't possibly get it wrong.
You've got it. Exactly. The clear structure you build using Alchemy directly helps your visibility with AI and voice search in, well, I'd say 3 main ways.
Okay, what are they?
First, you're creating that logical, clear hierarchy back in step H. AI tools and voice search can process that kind of order really efficiently. If your site's a mess, AI will struggle to figure out what you even offer.
Makes sense. What's the second way?
Second, by clarifying your aim, C, and mapping out each page's goal, you're basically forcing yourself to write with laser-like clarity and purpose.
A better copy.
Much better. And that focused writing is inherently easier for both human users and algorithms to understand and match to someone's search intent.
Okay, clarity and structure, clarity in writing. And the third way?
The third way is that the whole process, especially A, audience, and H, hierarchy, forces you to design the site around how real people actually make decisions.
Focusing on the human journey.
Right. You're prioritizing their path, their needs, their pain points. And ultimately, that's what every AI algorithm, whether it's Google Search or Alexa or whatever comes next, is trying to do: serve the human user's need. So by focusing intensely on your audience, your site naturally becomes more relevant when someone searches for a solution to a problem you solve.
So the big message here is, don't just guess what should be on your website.
Definitely not.
And maybe don't feel pressured to jump on every single new AI tool or trend that pops up every week.
Right. Focus on the plan first.
Focus on the plan, get the foundations right with clarity and structure, and the current tech landscape will actually reward you for it.
Precisely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Alchemy is really the shortcut to avoiding all that guesswork. It helps you build a site that actually performs instead of one that just sits there looking nice. By putting in that thinking time up front, really working through ALC especially, you gain so much clarity. And that clarity means you actually build faster in the end.
Less back and forth, fewer changes later.
Exactly. You edit less after launch, and you get better, measurable results. Why? Because that foundation is just rock solid.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Maybe planning that next website or thinking about a redesign?
What's the takeaway?
It means that planning stage. It's not just some boring chore you have to get through.
No, it's your superpower.
It's your ultimate strategic advantage. It's genuinely the difference between having, like, a pretty online brochure that costs you money and having a powerful conversion tool that actually earns you money. The whole goal here is getting clarity and confidence. Knowing your website's foundation, built on real goals, real audience needs, is solid and ready for whatever tech changes come next.
Yeah, a strong, structured foundation is always going to beat a beautiful website built on just a hunch. Always.
That brings up one final thought for you to chew on. Since this Alchemy framework really pushes for building a durable, clear structure rather than just chasing the newest AI feature.
Focusing on those fundamentals.
Right. The question becomes, how often should you revisit Step Aldel, the learning step, auditing your analytics, checking competitors? How often do you need to do that to make sure your super clear, structured site stays relevant, especially as AI keeps changing how people even find businesses online?
That's a really good question. The landscape is shifting fast.
That's your homework. Something to think about.
The Focus Shift podcast is presented by PhotoBiz, the best website solution for photographers. Whether you're launching your site or scaling your online business, PhotoBiz has your back. To get started for free, Visit photobiz.com today.